The beginning of an inner revolution. Imagine a doctor who never meets his patients face to face. He doesn't prescribe medication. He doesn't interview them. He doesn't even observe them in therapy sessions. All he does is sit quietly in his office, open their files, and use an ancient Hawaiian healing practice called Ho'oponopono. This man is Dr. Ihaleakala Hew Len. He became world-renowned for reportedly healing an entire ward of criminally insane patients at a psychiatric hospital in Hawaii without ever meeting them. What seemed impossible has become one of the most fascinating and mysterious accounts in modern alternative medicine. The technique he used was radical in its simplicity. He took 100% responsibility for everything that appeared in his awareness. His only tools were 4 short phrases: "I'm sorry," "Please forgive me," "I love you," "Thank you." Spoken with deep sincerity, these words are said to cleanse unconscious memories, dissolve emotional blockages, and heal not just the individual but everyone connected to them. Since Dr. Hew Len's story emerged, Ho'oponopono has spread across the globe. People from all walks of life now use it to transform relationships, emotional wounds, finances, health challenges, and inner turmoil. This practice isn't tied to any religion, dogma, or culture. It's accessible to everyone. But what actually happens when someone truly applies it in their daily life? Can repeating 4 phrases really shift the course of someone's reality? In this video, you'll hear true, touching stories of ordinary people who turned to Ho'oponopono during their darkest moments and witnessed extraordinary results. Stories of reconciliation, emotional healing, spiritual awakening, and quiet transformation. By the end, you'll also learn how to use this method simply and powerfully in your own daily routine. This isn't just a spiritual curiosity, it's a personal invitation to healing and clarity. Because maybe what you need isn't a new job, a new relationship, or a new city, but a reconnection with your inner self. And it might all begin with 4 phrases and a genuine willingness to transform from within. The woman who saved her marriage with 4 phrases. Rachel was 42 years old and felt like her marriage was falling apart. After 17 years together, she and her husband David barely spoke to each other. Arguments were constant, emotional distance kept growing, and their 2 children were already feeling the heavy tension at home. During one of their worst fights, Rachel packed her bags and seriously considered filing for divorce. That night, through tears and desperation, she remembered a friend who had recently told her about Ho'oponopono. Without fully understanding what it was, she locked herself in the bedroom and began repeating the 4 phrases: "I'm sorry," "Please forgive me," "I love you," "Thank you." At first, it felt meaningless, but she kept going. And as the days passed, something began to shift. A new kind of calm started rising within her. Over the following days, Rachel kept her practice private. Whenever she felt angry at her husband or disappointed by something he did, she'd step aside for a few moments and repeat the phrases. Sometimes she whispered them softly before bed. Other times she wrote them down, directing the intention inward. Slowly, she noticed her reactions changing. She didn't shout anymore. She listened with more patience. And surprisingly, he began to change too. The man who once barely looked her in the eyes now started asking how she was feeling. They began talking again without arguing. It wasn't magic, but it felt as though something invisible had been cleansed inside her, and that inner change was now reflecting outward. Their relationship began to heal, and the connection they once had started coming back. In time, Rachel decided to share her secret with David. He was skeptical at first, but curious. After seeing her real transformation, he began repeating the phrases too, especially when overwhelmed with work or frustration. Soon, this became a quiet nightly ritual for them. Before going to sleep, each would silently repeat the phrases in their mind. Within a few months, They felt more connected than they had in years. Today, they share this story with other couples, and Rachel even hosts small women's circles too. Teach Ho single quotes OPONOPONO dot. She says she didn't just save her marriage, she saved herself from anger, from guilt, from the fear of failure. According to her, Ho'oponopono taught her that when we change within, the world around us transforms too. And that those 4 simple phrases, when spoken with the heart, can heal wounds deeper than we ever imagined. The businessman who saved his company and found inner peace. Mark Thompson was a 51-year-old small business owner running a furniture manufacturing shop in the outskirts of Springfield, Missouri. For over 2 decades, he had built his company with hard work and dedication. But when the pandemic hit, sales plummeted and everything began to fall apart. Buried in debt, struggling to pay suppliers, facing layoffs, and watching his credit go into default, Mark spiraled into depression. He withdrew from friends, avoided his family, and began suffering nightly panic attacks. Then one day, a simple video sent by a friend changed everything. It talked about a Hawaiian practice called Ho'oponopono. Mark thought it sounded strange, almost too mystical, but he was desperate. The video said, "You don't need to change the world. Change what's inside of you, and the world will respond." That night, when his heart was racing and his chest felt like it would explode, he sat up in bed and began repeating, "I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you, thank you." He repeated it like a mantra. The fear didn't vanish immediately, but it started to quiet. He was able to fall back asleep. Slowly, this practice became a daily routine. Every morning, before opening the shop, even with chaos all around, he'd take 5 silent minutes, eyes closed, and repeat the phrases inwardly. Soon, he noticed a shift in the atmosphere. His team seemed less tense. One employee who had been considering quitting decided to stay. A supplier who was about to cut ties reconsidered. Things began to flow again, not perfectly, but noticeably. 1 month later, Mark had a simple yet brilliant idea: custom-made pillows for online retail. It was modest at first, but the products caught attention from boutique stores and went viral locally. In 6 months, the company was profitable again. But the biggest shift, Mark said, wasn't in the numbers, it was in him. "I used to try to control everything. Now I take full responsibility for what affects me, but without guilt, with love." He began practicing Ho'oponopono with his teenage kids, with his wife, and even before tense business meetings. To him, the greatest profit wasn't saving the business, it was finding peace. He realized the outside world is simply a mirror of the inner one. Since then, every morning he writes the 4 phrases in a notebook. He says that changed his way of living, and he's never gone back. The young woman who healed from abuse without saying a word to anyone. Emily Carter was just 24 years old when a buried trauma resurfaced with force. At 14, she had been abused by a neighbor, something she never had the courage to tell anyone. She suppressed it, stayed silent, and carried the pain alone for years. But as Emily would later say, pain doesn't disappear, it changes form. For years, she struggled with anxiety attacks, disordered eating, and chaotic relationships. She constantly felt broken. When she started college, things got worse. She couldn't trust people. She felt invisible and simultaneously overwhelmed. Then, during an online workshop about self-compassion, she heard about Ho'oponopono. She didn't fully understand it, but the 4 phrases stirred something deep inside. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you." They felt like the words she had always needed to hear, but from herself. That night, she whispered them before bed, tears falling as she finally acknowledged the wound she'd hidden for a decade. At first, it felt worse: nightmares, painful memories, waves of sadness. But strangely, she felt she had to keep going. Eventually, she saw the phrases not as a ritual, but as a bridge to her younger, wounded self. Emily started writing letters to herself, addressing the 14-year-old girl she once was. She apologized for not being able to protect her. She said, "I love you," and she thanked herself for surviving. What began as a symbolic act became deeply transformative. Over the following months, Emily began feeling more connected to herself. She looked in the mirror with more softness. She returned to therapy with courage to finally speak the truth. She said Ho'oponopono didn't erase her pain, but it softened it. It allowed her to look at her trauma without drowning in it. And for the first time, she felt no guilt. She felt free. Today, Emily shares her story in women's support groups, helping others with silent wounds. In her words, Ho'oponopono taught me that forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about embracing. It's about offering an inner hug to the part of you that suffered the most. And from there, living in truth. She still repeats the 4 phrases daily as a quiet, powerful reminder that love, even self-love, can heal what once felt impossible. The man who forgave his brother's killer through Ho'oponopono. Mitchell Reynolds, a 38-year-old public employee from Denver, Colorado, had been carrying a grief that hollowed him out for almost a decade. His younger brother, Brian, had been murdered during a robbery at a bus stop when he was only 19. The man who committed the crime was arrested months later, but that didn't bring peace to the family. Michael, who had always been very close to his brother, never fully recovered. He fed a silent rage that, over the years, turned into bitterness. He became closed off, cynical, emotionally numb. He tried to move on with life, but his heart was shut down. It was during a meditation circle at his local church that an elderly woman told him about Ho'oponopono. She shared how it had helped her let go of the past. Michael resisted the idea. How could I possibly forgive someone who destroyed my family, he thought. But the pain had become unbearable. He decided to try. In the beginning, the practice felt absurd. Saying, "Please, forgive me, and I love you," while thinking of a murderer. It enraged him. But he was told to start with himself. So he stood in front of the mirror and whispered the 4 phrases. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you." At first he wept from anger, then from sadness, and finally from a place he couldn't name came a quiet sense of relief. With time, he began directing the phrases toward his brother. Not with desperation, but with tenderness. He remembered the good times. Slowly, Brian's image returned to his heart with joy, not pain. After several months, Michael did something brave. He wrote a letter to the man in prison. In it, he said that he forgave him. He didn't ask for anything. He didn't want contact. He simply wanted to set himself free. After mailing the letter, Michael slept peacefully for the first time in years. He reconnected with his family. He laughed with friends. He felt moved by music again. Michael says Ho'oponopono didn't erase the past, it gave him the power to rewrite his relationship with it. Today, he volunteers in grief support groups, often sharing the practice of the 4 phrases as a path to inner healing. "I didn't forgive because he deserved it," he says. "I forgave because I deserved to live without that weight." For Michael, Ho'oponopono showed him that forgiveness doesn't require reconciliation, only a reconnection with his own soul. And that choice saved his life. The mother who healed from guilt after losing her son. Julia Henderson, 45 years old, lived in Savannah, Georgia. Her eyes still held a soft glow, but behind them was a sorrow few could imagine. The loss of her youngest son, Caleb, just 6 years old. It happened in a tragic accident. He fell down the stairs while she was doing laundry in the back room. The guilt was merciless. Julia withdrew from everyone. She sank into a silent grief, rejecting comfort, avoiding conversations. Inside, a voice tormented her. "I should have been there. I failed as a mother." For 2 years, she lived in emotional isolation. Then one day, scrolling on her phone, a video popped up with the title, "You don't have to carry this pain alone." She clicked, and with teary eyes, she heard those 4 sacred words for the first time. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you." At first, she couldn't even say them. Why should I be forgiven? She thought. But something within her kept nudging her to try that, so she began slowly. Just, "I'm sorry, and please forgive me." She cried every time. She wrote the phrases in a journal as if speaking to Caleb in the beyond. Each word was a tear. Each tear a step towards self-reconciliation. Eventually, she allowed herself to say, "I love you." It felt like rebuilding a connection, not through pain, but through eternal affection. Gratitude was the last one to come. But one day, while holding a photo of Caleb laughing in the backyard, Julia smiled. Her heart trembled as she whispered, "Thank you, Caleb, for letting me be your mom." From that moment on, something began to shift. Julia started attending meetings with other grieving mothers. At first, she only listened. But soon, she began to share her experience with Ho'oponopono. "I'm not here to convince anyone," she would say. "I just want to share what helped me breathe again." Her story touched others so deeply that she started an online support group. Every morning now, Julia repeats the 4 phrases while holding a small toy that once belonged to Caleb, not to erase the past but to live in peace with it. According to her, Ho'oponopono isn't magic, it's a path. A way of holding yourself with compassion, even when the pain feels bigger than life. She says, "When I say I love you, it's like he's still here, and truth is he is, inside me. With love, without guilt." The young man who overcame addiction through the power of forgiveness. Jason Miller was only 27 years old, but his story was already marked by chaos, emotional escape, and a long road of substance abuse. Raised in a strict household with an emotionally distant father, he spent his youth trying to fill the void with wild friendships and endless parties. He started with alcohol, then moved on to harder substances until he was fully consumed by crack cocaine. 4 stints in rehab, 3 overdoses, and 2 suicide attempts later, he entered his 5th treatment center. That's when something unexpected happened. A volunteer therapist from Hawaii would visit weekly and hold small spiritual circles. One afternoon, the man introduced the group to Ho'oponopono and taught them the 4 phrases, "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you." Jason didn't get it. It sounded too simple for someone whose life was on fire. Still, that night, alone in his room, he gave it a try. He whispered the words. At first, it was a battle. Shame, rage, despair, all of it surfaced. But strangely, the more he repeated the phrases, the lighter he felt. For the first time, he was speaking to himself with compassion. The therapist encouraged him to write the phrases in a notebook each morning, directing them toward his inner child, the boy who had suffered, felt rejected, and didn't know how to defend himself. Jason embraced the practice. He began visualizing himself at 7 years old, curled up in his room, listening to his parents fight. He would repeat, "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you." Each day, the memory of addiction felt less heavy, and his desire to live more real. He began to understand that recovery wasn't just physical, it was emotional and spiritual. After 6 months, Jason was discharged. He moved back in with his mother and got a modest job at a local flower shop. It wasn't easy. He had small relapses, moments of exhaustion, and withdrawal symptoms. But each time, he returned to the 4 phrases. Instead of punishing himself, he offered himself grace. Instead of judging, he forgave. That changed everything. A year later, Jason returned to the same rehab center, this time as a volunteer. He shared his story with others, showing how the simplicity of Ho'oponopono had touched places no medication had ever reached. "I'm not a saint or a guru," he says, But I'm alive because of that one night when, in my darkest moment, I spoke to myself with love. Ho'oponopono didn't just save me from drugs. It saved me from self-destruction. And that changed everything. The teacher who healed her relationship with her mother after decades of conflict. Patricia Green, 53, was a university professor in Asheville, North Carolina. For as long as she could remember, she carried a deep, unhealed wound, the complicated relationship with her mother. Since adolescence, their connection had been shaped by harsh criticism, emotional distance, and long, painful silences. Her mother, strict and cold, demanded perfection. And Patricia, in her attempt to be accepted, built her entire life around pleasing someone who never seemed satisfied. By age 30, they had almost no contact. Birthday greetings were formal. Holidays were tense. Every word felt like a landmine. Patricia told herself she had moved on. But whenever she heard her mother's name, her chest tightened. It was during a workshop on spiritual tools for educators that she first heard about Ho'oponopono. The speaker, a Buddhist nun, said, "Family conflict is one of the greatest mirrors for inner healing. Repeat the 4 phrases. Not to the person, but to your pain." That night, Patricia tried. But she couldn't complete the sequence. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And she would stop. The tears came from a place deeper than she expected, like the cry of a child, still longing for love. She realized she had frozen her emotions around her mother. And so she made a decision to face it. Every night before bed, she would sit quietly, close her eyes, and visualize her younger mother holding a baby her. And she would say, with a trembling voice, "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you." At first, it felt fake. But day by day, memories of forgotten warmth began to surface. Small acts of kindness, long-lost laughter. It was like peeling away layers of bitterness and seeing the human woman behind the cold mother image. 6 months later, Patricia did something she never imagined. She visited her mother. She brought flowers, baked a simple cake, and asked to talk. Her mother, now elderly and forgetful, greeted her with distance. But Patricia didn't back down. She sat beside her, held her hand, and through tears, repeated the 4 phrases aloud, looking her in the eyes. For the first time in decades, her mother cried. No apologies were exchanged. None were needed. The embrace that followed was enough. Since then, they have been rebuilding their relationship gently, with small gestures. Patricia says Ho'oponopono didn't change the past, but it changed her story about the past. Now, when I think of my mother, I feel love, and that healing didn't come from her. It came from me. I freed myself the moment I stopped waiting for her to change and chose to transform myself instead. The teen who overcame bullying with just his mind and a notebook, Ryan Mitchell, a 16-year-old from Portland, Oregon, had been quietly suffering for months. The reason? Intense bullying at school. He was shy, wore thick glasses, had a slow, deliberate way of speaking, and loved board games, traits that made him an easy target. Every school day was a nightmare. Cruel nicknames, hallway shoves, total isolation. Ryan began faking illness to avoid school, shut himself in his room, and cried in silence. His self-esteem collapsed. His grades plummeted. His parents grew deeply concerned. A school counselor suggested he begin expressing his emotions through writing. His mother, searching for anything that might help, stumbled upon a YouTube video about Ho'oponopono. It moved her deeply. She bought Ryan a brand new notebook and wrote on the first page, "This is your healing notebook. Whenever you want, write, 'I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you.'" Ryan thought it was silly. But one especially hard night, after being humiliated in front of classmates, he opened the notebook. He didn't write anything else. Just the 4 phrases. He repeated them silently, trying not to cry. That moment became his secret refuge. Every day after school, Ryan would write the phrases over and over, sometimes 20, 30 times. Gradually, he noticed a change. The anger started to fade. The bullying didn't stop immediately, but it no longer crushed him. He began directing the phrases toward the classmates who mocked him. Not to excuse them, but to free himself from their hold. He told himself, maybe they're hurting too, but I can choose to heal myself. That insight changed everything. A month later, when one boy insulted him, Ryan met his gaze with calm and silence. The bully was caught off guard. Slowly, the attacks diminished. His new quiet strength caught the attention of the school staff. A coordinator invited him to join a peer mediation group. In time, Ryan became a role model for emotional maturity. His Ho'oponopono notebook became a treasure. Today, Ryan says, I didn't overcome bullying with punishment or shouting. I did it by repeating 4 simple phrases that helped me face the pain without becoming it. Ho'oponopono gave me a voice, even when no one was listening. They thought I was weak, but it was through written silence that I found my strength. The woman who reversed an autoimmune disease through inner love, Helena Brooks, was 39. When she received a diagnosis that would shake her world, lupus, the autoimmune disease, known for triggering internal inflammation and causing the immune system to attack the body itself, brought devastating symptoms: joint pain, hair loss, extreme fatigue, and skin rashes. Her life became a cycle of doctor visits, lab tests, and medications. But what frightened her most was the feeling that her body was destroying itself from within. Her therapist asked, one day, do you feel like you're at war with a part of yourself? That question echoed in Helena's mind for weeks. One afternoon, in a bookstore, almost by chance, she stumbled upon a book about Ho'oponopono. The cover read, Heal Through Love. She opened to the first pages, saw the 4 phrases, and something inside her stirred. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. She began saying them at night, hesitant but determined. The practice became a ritual. Each morning, she'd stand before the mirror, look into her own eyes, and repeat the phrases. During flare-ups, instead of cursing her body, she would whisper the words, inwardly directing them to her cells, her organs, her inflamed skin. It was as if she were apologizing for years of self-criticism, rejection, and silent suffering. Slowly, something shifted inside. The lab results still showed irregularities, but she felt lighter, less resentful, more centered. She began integrating Ho'oponopono into her medical treatment, physical therapy, and new nutrition plan. But the biggest change, she said, was emotional. For the first time, her body felt like an ally, not an enemy. After a year of daily practice, her doctors noted a surprising stabilization in her condition. She still followed conventional treatment, but even her medical team recognized her uncommon progress. Helena began giving talks about integrative health. Today, she leads support groups for women with chronic illness. Each session begins with 5 minutes of silence and the 4 phrases. To Helena, Ho'oponopono is more than a method. It's a way to come home to the body. Your body isn't something to fix, it's something to love. She says, I wasn't fighting a disease, I was fighting myself. And Ho'oponopono taught me how to love even the hurting parts. Her story is now shared in clinics and on social media, proof that healing can come from many places. Even from the simplest, most radical place of all, self-love. The man who rebuilt his life after prison using Ho'oponopono, Jonathan Ruiz, was 35. When he walked out of prison after serving 5 years for drug-related offenses, those years behind bars had dismantled nearly everything in his life. His family was distant, his friends had vanished, his reputation was ruined, and his future looked like a blank wall. But it was in that very place, the concrete confines of a prison cell, that he discovered something that would change his life. A volunteer came weekly to speak with the inmates about healing and transformation. One day, he introduced them to Ho single quotes Oponopono to Jonathan. It sounded almost ridiculous at first. How could 4 phrases change a life filled with guilt, shame, and regret? Still, he decided to try. He had nothing left to lose. Every night, he would sit on the edge of his bunk, close his eyes, and repeat, "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you." At first, nothing changed. The pain remained. The guilt still haunted him, but slowly, something began to soften. He stopped seeing himself as a victim of the system and started taking full responsibility for the life he had led. He wasn't just repeating the words. He was letting them sink into the places he had long abandoned. This new posture shifted how he interacted with others in prison. He became calmer, more focused, more respectful. Other inmates started noticing, and some joined him in the nightly practice. When he was released, Jonathan faced a difficult world, but he wasn't the same man who had entered prison. Instead of bitterness, he carried hope. Instead of anger, compassion, especially for himself. He found work at a local shelter and began volunteering in recovery programs for former inmates. Today, he speaks to at-risk youth, always sharing the same message. Ho'oponopono gave me a key not to unlock the cell, but to open the prison I had built inside myself. It's not about asking others for forgiveness. It's about learning to forgive yourself, to love who you are, even after the fall. For Jonathan, those 4 phrases didn't erase his past. They rewrote his future. A practical guide to transform your life with Ho'oponopono. We've reached the end of this video, but your journey with Ho'oponopono is just beginning. If the stories you've heard here have shown anything, it's that real change doesn't come from the outside. It begins within. And taking full responsibility for your life, not with guilt, but with presence and love, is the first step toward deep, lasting healing. So here's a simple guide to help you begin practicing Ho'oponopono. In your daily life, understand the foundation. Ho'oponopono is not a ritual or a magic formula. It's a process of inner cleansing that acknowledges that everything you experience is connected to memories and energy within you. When you repeat the phrases, "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you," you are speaking to your own subconscious, your body, your inner child, and the energy field that connects you to others. Start with a few minutes a day. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes, breathe deeply. Focus on a situation that brings pain, discomfort, anxiety, or sadness. It could be a memory, a person, or even your own inner struggle. And then, repeat the phrases gently, with intention. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you." Let the emotions come. There's no right way to feel. You might cry, feel resistance, or even numbness at first. That's okay. Don't force anything. Just let the phrases flow. The healing is already happening. Use it throughout your day. Feeling overwhelmed in traffic? Repeat the phrases. Stressed at work? Whisper them silently. Argued with a loved one? Write them down in a notebook. Ho'oponopono is a tool you can use anytime, anywhere. Be consistent and kind to yourself. Transformation is not instant. But with consistency, these phrases will begin to work on the deepest layers of your memory and identity. You'll start noticing subtle shifts in your thoughts, your emotions, your relationships, and ultimately, your sense of peace. Ho'oponopono is more than a practice. It's a path to wholeness. It doesn't require you to believe in anything other than your own willingness to love, to let go, and to live from the heart. So begin today. Even if it's just for 1 minute, repeat the 4 phrases. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you." And if this video touched you, if something inside you shifted, even a little, don't keep it to yourself. Share this message with friends, family, or anyone who might need it. Leave a comment below and tell us which story spoke to your heart. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories and tools to help you heal, grow, and live with intention. Because transformation begins not when the world changes, but when we do.